Hello everyone. Today in this video I am talking about teaching aptitude. The NET paper that UGC has mandated has 10 subsections. Out of these subsections, the first subsection is teaching aptitude. In this video, I will cover the entire syllabus of teaching aptitude. Before we begin, please remember the main function of teaching is to make learning effective. Now, I would like you to take cognizance of each of the words that I have presented in this video because these words are going to help you to answer the multiple choice questions. Teaching aptitude subsection will contain 5 multiple choice questions. So be prepared. Out of the syllabus that I am going to present here, you will be able to answer 5 MCQs or multiple choice questions. This is the entire syllabus of teaching aptitude. As you can see, there are 3 modules. I am going to tackle each module. This is the first module where you have teaching the concept, objectives, levels, characteristics. Then you have the learner's characteristics. You have characteristics of adolescent and adult learners, individual differences, and learning environment and institution. Here you will see certain definitions of teaching. More important for you to remember that teaching is a face-to-face encounter between 2 or more persons. The one person essentially being a teacher. The student can be a single student or they can be more than one student. Now, there are 3 levels or viewpoints of teaching. The first one is the authoritarian level. The second is the democratic level. The third is the laissez-faire level. In the authoritarian level, as the word itself says, this level of teaching is called thoughtless teaching. Thoughtless teaching means a given syllabus is delivered to the students and this activity requires students to only remember what is taught. This teaching does not develop thoughts and attitudes in the students. So, we can essentially say that this teaching is teachers-centric. The next kind of teaching is democratic teaching. As the word democratic or democracy says, this teaching is known as thoughtful teaching. It is done at an understanding level. Here in democratic teaching, teaching is an interactive process. Primarily, it involves classroom talking which takes place between teachers and students. The concept is first memorized and then understood. Students are able to ask questions to the teachers, but in democratic teaching, classroom discipline is a must. The third one is a laissez-faire attitude. This is a reflexive and an insightful type of teaching. The memory type and understanding type of teaching that we talked about in the previous slide are a must for the reflective type of teaching. In this level, it is said both students and teachers are participants in the classroom. We will now come to challenges of modern teaching. In modern teaching, since we have a diversity of culture among our students, we need as teachers to adapt to diverse learning needs. And then we have to use audio-visual techniques. If audio-visual techniques are to be used, essentially technology has to be integrated into our teaching. There are large classrooms these days and open classrooms where teachers are supposed to be able to communicate and reach out to multiple number of students. There are administrative pressures for teachers, and resources always are a little limited. Now, the main challenge that teachers face is of keeping students engaged and motivated. What are the essential skills of a teacher? A teacher needs strong communication. A teacher needs patience to be able to explain to the students a multiple number of times or in different ways so that the student can understand. A teacher needs to be adaptable to situations. There are times when a teacher, if there is no power, is seen taking class under a tree or in the open corridor because the lesson has to be taught. There has to be empathy that the teacher should exhibit, understanding of what a student needs and accordingly teaching. A teacher also requires a proper understanding of the subject in the way it is meant to be understood. Good organizational skills are also required because a teacher is given a syllabus. This syllabus has to be taught within a particular time period, and the teacher has to decide and organize how the syllabus can be taught in a sequential manner so that the student understands within the given time period. Then, the ability to engage diverse learners. Today, in our classrooms, for example, in my classrooms, I used to have students from all over the world. Certain pronunciations are not understood by different people. Certain pronunciations of the students cannot be understood by the teacher because our language, our backgrounds are different. So, these are the essential skills required by a teacher. Today, teaching has been transformed by technology by introducing digital tools for educational software to do and conduct courses online, to have interactive multimedia. So, introduction of digital tools into teaching has facilitated remote learning, as you are learning now through YouTube, personalized education plans because you can choose the courses you want to learn by selecting courses online. And there are also, thanks to the internet, the World Wide Web, there is access to many resources. The nature and characteristic of teaching. Teaching is an interactive process between the student and the teaching sources, which is essentially the teacher. Teaching means imparting knowledge and information. Teaching should lead to a change in the attitude, knowledge level, and behavior of the student, meaning the student has to have an open and positive attitude towards the subject which he or she is learning. The teaching should increase the knowledge level of the student so that it leads to a model behavior. Teaching encourages the teacher also to improve self in terms of knowledge enhancement because when students are curious and ask questions, the teacher has to be able to understand. But please remember, discipline is an important part of teaching. If there is no silence in the class or where there is no receptive attitude, then teaching cannot be successful. Now, there are three things that a teacher needs to understand. Teaching is the process of attending to people's needs, experiences and feelings, and intervening so that they learn particular things. Sometimes some students already know the subject and they would like to deal with the subject on an advanced level. Whereas in some subjects, there are some students who have never heard of the topic that you are teaching and they would like you to deal with it from the basics. This is what we mean by the above sentence. Now, teachers have to know the what of teaching, means what areas to cover, what are the resources required to impart this areas to cover. The how of teaching, how to structure a lesson, how to sequentially teach from the basics to the advanced level, how to manage classes, and how to assess whether the student has understood what he has learned. The why questions. For what purposes and what ends do we teach? Today, this teaching aptitude I am teaching because I would like you to understand thoroughly the syllabus that you need to cover for the teaching aptitude subsection of paper 1 of NET. So, there is a why, there is a how, and there is a what. Interventions in teaching. The following things we call, the following subjects in the slide we call as interventions of teaching. One is questioning, second is listening, not just hearing, giving information, explaining some phenomenon, demonstrating a skill or process, testing, understanding and capacity, facilitating learning through notes, discussions, assignment writing, simulation and practice sessions. There are 3 levels of teaching: reflective level, understanding level and memory level. Now you see this, I have copied from the internet this picture. Thanks to the website I copied from. My humble acknowledgement to whoever drew this diagram. When you see a pyramid, please remember the top of the pyramid is very important. The most important subject or concept is always seen on the top level, but the least important is at the bottom level. But please see that the pyramid is broader at the bottom and slimmer at the top. The more effort that you require is at the bottom level. As you go up the pyramid, the effort is lesser, but the importance is more. Memory level of teaching is said to be thoughtless teaching by Herbert. It is concerned with memory or mental ability and the lowest level of teaching, as you have seen in the pyramid. It is only done to provide textbook knowledge to the students. Here, thinking ability is not used. The role of the teacher is very prominent and the teacher presents the study material in sequential order. The student role is secondary. They need to only memorize and recall any facts, maybe figures, information, formulae, and any laws that are taught. There is absolutely no self-learning in the memory level of teaching. The study material is already pre-planned and organized. This is very good for the very young and lower level of students. We next come to the understanding level of teaching as said by Morrison. The teaching at the understanding level is definitely of a higher quality than that at the memory level. The teacher explains to the students the relationship between principles and facts and how these principles can be applied. Students understand the concept, they perceive the concept and comprehend the meaning and interact with the teacher. Students evaluate concepts and associate them with other previously known facts, meaning these students are of a higher level than of the memory level. They already know certain things, they are already qualified of a certain grade, and then they come to understanding level of teaching. There is sufficient interaction between the teacher and student, enabling the mental capabilities of students. Now, the highest level of teaching is the reflective level of teaching. Hunt and Big propose this. Here, it is a scientific method of teaching because problem raising and problem solving techniques are used. Now, the indicators of the success of a reflective level of teaching and learning are the absolute personal involvement of the student and the capacity of the student for obtaining a solution to an issue. The cognitive field theory provides support to this level of teaching. That is, cognitive level field theory means teaching students how to think, not just what to think. And the teacher forces an environment where inquiry and exploration are entered. It is basically an inquiry into the problems and the solution to these problems. There is instinctive and unprompted interaction between the teacher and student. Multiple dimensions of a concept are explored, and students' critical thinking and creativity is developed. There is here you have autonomous development level. This is another proposition that I got from the internet. This development level, this is the fourth one, but generally we say there are three, yet you understand this new idea. It is driven by intrinsic motivation and it is totally student centered. There is little or absolutely no leadership or direction or imposition of thought or behavior. The student can promote self feelings. There is a feeling of autonomy with no scope for teacher intervention. It refers to the learner's ability to control over own learning, and it is also a desire for in-depth learning by the student. We'll talk now about learner characteristics. This means how student learning experience is influenced by certain factors like personal, social, cognitive. Cognitive is how much you listen, understand, how much of attention span you have, and academic elements, the level of education that you already have. Types of learners. We have visual learners who like to absorb information by visualizing relationships and ideas through maps, charts, diagrams, and teachers essentially do that. Auditory learners or oral learners who prefer listening to information. Kinesthetic or hands-on learners, they want to do everything themselves, understand, perform something, understand, and then proceed. Reading and writing learners, it is self-explanatory, someone who likes to read and rephrase what is learned. The adult learner differs from child learners in following ways. Self-concept, they are more independent. Experience, more experience. Readiness to learn because they have a need to learn a certain concept at a certain age level, or maybe some kind of maturity level. Orientation to learning, they are ready to learn because they want to learn. Maybe there's a mandate to learn. And motivation may be for sake of getting promotion or for self improvement. Adolescent learner, here we have the characteristics of the adolescent learner through social development, emotional development, physical development, intellectual development, spiritual and moral development. I have given here in the slide how, as compared to the adult learner, the adolescent learner differs. Now, the second module, methods of teaching, MOOCs, etc. Teacher-centered learning versus learner-centered learning. Here, if you can see, there is a difference between teacher-centered and learner-centered learning in terms of mode of instruction, orientation, focus, method of working, delivery of knowledge, ambience, evaluation, and topics. Swayam. Swayam is a program initiated by the Government of India, and it is designed to achieve the three cardinal principles of educational policy. Please take a cognizance of this because it is important for a multiple choice questions. The three cardinal principles of education policy: access, equity, and quality. Objective of Swayam is to take the best teaching learning resources to all, including the most disadvantaged students in society. And this happens because it is online and it is absolutely without any charges. So it bridges the digital divide for students who could not have had digital education or any education at all. so that they can join the mainstream of the knowledge economy. There is a platform through which Swayam is delivered. It facilitates hosting of all classrooms taught in classrooms from class 9 till post graduation, and it can be accessed and accessed by anywhere, anytime, at any time, because digital medium is 24-hour medium. So there are 4 quadrants: video lecture, specially prepared reading material that you can download, self-assessment tests and quizzes, and online discussion forum which you can use for clearing the doubts. Kindly take cognizance of the 4 quadrants because it will be important for your multiple choice questions. There are 10 national coordinators here: AICTE, NPTEL, UGC, CEC, NCERT, NIOS, IGNOU, IIMB, NITTTR, and INI. Please look at this because it will be important for multiple choice questions. The Swayam Prabha is also a government program. It's a direct to home channel bringing quality education from leading professors directly to your home, completely free of cost. About MOOCs, the full form is Massive Open Online Courses. There I have given the website. Kindly go check this website and you will understand. The MOOCs is important for a number of reasons like career development, preparations for competitive exams, supplementary learning, corporate e-learning, training, and simply lifelong learning. Now we come to the third module. This is in teaching support system. Now in the first teaching is the traditional teaching. This is the oldest method, concentrates on imparting content through face-to-face contact with students. There is repetition in teaching and memorization. Of course, there's a physical location like a classroom, a structured curriculum. The teacher naturally occupies a central position in traditional teaching. As I already said, repetition and memorization are part of it. Understanding of students is assessed through tests and assignments. Of course, as in other forms of teaching, classroom discipline is a part of traditional teaching. Modern teaching methods combine innovative techniques with educational tools. Kindly take cognizance of this sentence too. Learning is made interactive and provides a diverse learning experience. It fosters holistic development in learners and develops critical thinking, leadership qualities, emotional intelligence, cultural sensitivity, and social emotional learning. Please take cognizance of these words as well. The techniques or methods of modern teaching. Modern teaching is student-centered teaching. It is inclusive because everyone's doubts are cleared. Then you have, student-centered teaching is obviously student-centered teaching. Inclusive education means like MOOCs or Swayam, where everyone, including the people who cannot access education, are provided with education. Gamification. In one of my books on managerial skills, I had introduced the game 7 tiles. In a game of 7 tiles, I found that the one we discuss whose expertise is in which area. Someone who can run makes sure that he or she is chased with a ball, and someone who has a good aim aims at putting down the tiles. Someone who's petite and will not be looked at much will come quickly and build up the 7 tiles. So this was a game where everyone's expertise was assessed and accordingly the tasks were assigned. It was one good game for building up your strategies. Now, technology integration is one thing where you have audiovisual aids in the classroom. Interdisciplinary approach. If you want to teach a subject like management, it becomes necessary to take the help of maybe science subjects or any other subjects to make people understand. So, different disciplines or different subjects are integrated in teaching one subject. Experiential learning is learning by doing. Critical thinking and creativity, competency based learning, and collaborative learning. These are the techniques or methods of modern teaching. Now, how do you do assessment? It is called CAA, Computer Assisted Assessment, or Computer Aided Assessment. I have given the material here, kindly read. Then you have computer based assessments, which is done through laptops, tablets, or smartphones. When you click something and whether the answer is wrong or right is immediately evident. Types of evaluation are two types, formative or summative. In the formative assessment, the tests or quizzes or assignments are given several times in a year, and the performance of the student builds up according to each test or each assignment or each quiz. But in summative assignment, it happens as an examination at the end of the year, and only that exam is considered as the performance of the student. So let us be very clear here for the sake of your multiple choice questions. Formative evaluation is continuous all through the year. Summative assignment is only at the end of the year. Innovations in evaluation systems. One is a concept map. I'll give you a concept map in the next one. Just see. This is concept maps are charts, graphic organizers, tables, flowcharts, Venn diagrams, timelines, or T-charts. I've given you a simple organogram here. Below there's a manager, and under him maybe a supervisor for production and a supervisor for marketing. Now under this supervisor there may be other people, but this is essentially a concept map. It helps to understand because a picture speaks more than words. Concept tests, these are multiple choice questions created to check the level of knowledge of a topic. They tend to identify the illusions covering tricky concepts. The next thing is a e-portfolio. It's an online space where the students themselves can store their work like images, videos, tasks. So they help this, whatever is stored helps them to understand how much they have comprehended and improve upon their learning. Podcasts and blogs, I'm sure you'll understand this. Blogs are talk shows with video. Blogging is vlogs. Then there is a talk show performance. There's a minute paper. This is a practice in which a 1 to 2 minute break is given to students to write their views, and then these replies are checked whether they have understood. JIT, just in time teaching, notes, and then you have assessment rubrics. Rubrics are metrics on how to evaluate. Then use of technological interventions like computers, internet, mobile, etc. Now we come to the last part, evaluation in choice-based credit system, CBCS. So in CBCS we have two types of courses. We have the core course like basic accounting, statistics, organizational behavior, or basic subjects which everybody learns before they take up specialization. Then you have the elective course. From a pool of papers, you take the specialization. You choose a specialization stream, and under that specialization stream, you choose the number of electives are specified in the course matrix. So if the course matrix says select 3 electives out of 5, you select 3 electives, and then you become qualified in that specialization stream. Now there is something called foundation course also. Please take a look at the slide. Evaluation system has absolute and relative grades. See, the absolute grades are what you get, relative grades are relative. For this, what you have to do is you have to go into your marks card. At the back of your marks card, the relative CGPA etc. is explained thoroughly. I'm going to show you 10 multiple choice questions now. The first one, for example, teaching means A. This is the way the multiple choice questions will come: imparting knowledge, indoctrination, respecting someone, planning a student's future. Now here, indoctrination means teaching something without evidence. So the others are false, obviously. Please remember, in MCQs, one will be the right answer, then there will be a second answer which will be close to the right answer, and 3 and 4 may not be so correct. Alright? Now the second MCQ. If a teacher must be an educator, he or she must reflect on teachers' wishes, plan interventions for teachers' needs, which is wrong, consider students' current and future needs, plan for the teacher's financial requirements. Of course, the answer is C, consider students' current and future needs. The third MCQ, being clear about the meaning of teaching is necessary because students are clever these days. It affects how the teacher teaches in the classroom. Students must memorize the teachings. The students' results are important. Of course, the answer here is it affects how the teacher teaches in the classroom. Teachers must teach because students require good results. Students are not disciplined. Teaching is a good process of learning. The imparting of knowledge is the goal. Yes, D is the answer. Imparting of knowledge is the goal. Teaching is a remote encounter. Remote means you don't meet at all. Face-to-face encounter, baseless and distant encounter. Obviously, the answer is face-to-face encounter. The three viewpoints of teaching are authoritarian, democratic and laissez-faire, as I've just told you. Authoritarian teaching is thoughtless teaching. In democratic teaching, students can ask questions. Interactive multimedia is an intervention of digital tools in teaching. Reflective level of teaching is the highest level of teaching and thought processes for the teacher and the learner. With this, I have covered the teaching aptitude subsection of paper 1 that you need to answer for NET. In subsequent videos, I plan to do all the subsections one by one. Meanwhile, I'll say goodbye. All the best to all of you. God bless. Take care.